Good morning. It's 2:10 here in the UK, which is 9:10 Eastern time, and I'm just going to quickly go through my levels. I've not really looked at the charts until about 2 seconds ago, so I'll just put in a couple of trend lines to see whether there's anything we can watch for, which I'll get into in a second. This is the weekly on the MES, and you can still see that big level we've been watching for some time, which is this weekly trend line. So we formed it there, and we haven't quite got up to there, so that's an area I'm watching for a potential reject off of this trend line. And last time we got up there, well, we rejected there quite nicely. We rejected it here as well, and we haven't really had much of a pullback over the last 5 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and this is the 5th week, so potentially we may see a bit of continuation, maybe a bit of sideways action, and we may be watching it kind of come into that trend line area, which is around the 4600 area. So that's what I'm watching for. So let's go into the daily. Let's go down a time frame, see where we are. You can see this daily level, we've respected it. It was the floor there, then it became the ceiling, continued to stay as a ceiling, couldn't break through it, and we came up, we tested it a few times. It's a zone, so we haven't really closed above it with conviction, and I'm still waiting for that trend line as well, but it looks like we're having a little bit of a either we're going to consolidate up here or it's going to pull back a bit. A healthy pullback on the daily would be quite nice to this area here, so that's an area we can watch for if we come back down to that area for potential continuation of this daily trend. We've also got a couple areas around. This is an area as well to watch out for, which I'll go into in the daily, in the hourly. So looking at the hourly now, you can see I added some trend lines in as well. So this is the trend line which from last Wednesday, Friday. Obviously Thanksgiving was no trade. Well, there was minimal, very low volume there, and the trend line seems to be forming quite nicely here. So you can see we're coming in. So potentially, and I've just drawn in a second trend line today, which was a steepest trend line, and we can use this as a guide as well. So what levels do I like today? Pretty much the same as yesterday. I talked about this area as a potential bounce. We never got anywhere near there yesterday, and you can see it came in today and touched that level and bounced just exactly as would have been as planned, but I wasn't here to see that. And now it's broken down through the level, and we're potentially retesting it, and maybe we're going to see some weakness today. But what I really like is this area here, 45, 39, 45, 40, and I'll just zoom out, give you some context why I like it. You can see we were the ceiling here, and we've got big volume concentration around this area as well, and a bit of volume above as well. That's where we are right now. So anyway, so this is the ceiling, was the ceiling there, and then we finally broke through, came back, retested it as a floor, and we've yet to retest it again. So I quite like a bounce around 45-50 area. That's what I'm waiting for. That's going to be my A+ bounce I'm waiting for. And even though we're starting to see a bit of an hourly, it hasn't really changed trend, we've got to close below that pivot, pull down and come back to confirm the hourly change of trend. So we're still in my opinion, we're still in an uptrend on the hourly, and we've just gone sideways for a bit. And going sideways for a bit can usually mean that we're just eating time off the clock, ready for that big move, for a bigger move up. So I'm still going to be pretty bullish, I think. Yeah, we're not close below that pivot. This is the main area we want to. If we close below this area on the hourly, then potentially we're setting up a head and shoulders pattern. Potentially, we'll see where we get there. So let's put some levels out. So as you know, I like the bounce at 45.50, 45 that area, 45.39 through to 45. Yeah, 45. Sorry, 45.39, 49, 45.40. Yeah, that's my A+ bounce I'm waiting for. So 40. 550 is where we are right now. So on TradingView, it puts the labels, it makes the labels easier to read by putting any levels you've got underneath the labels for readability rather than stacking them all on top. So as I was trying to work out what that really was. 45.50 is where we are right now, and that was a higher risk bounce, and we may have already started that higher risk bounce. When you see we've got this upward trailing 200 moving average as well, and we came in, touched it, and bounced from that area. Putting in this bit of a downtrend on the hourly as well, so we do need a break above this trend line. So this trend line I've drawn in just connects up the last couple of hours, the last few hours. That's through from today in the pre-market and yesterday's high, and then we've got this second hourly trend line connecting up Wednesday, Friday and yesterday. So we can use this as a guide. Potentially, if we see it come back up to this area, we could watch for a reject. We've got this high concentrated area of volume, and the point of control runs through that area, and a trend line runs through that area, and it's potentially an area of confluence as well. We could say there's an area of confluence just about there. Let's draw that in. So this area in, what I'm looking for is tops of candles, bottoms of candles, more tops of candles, basically as many touches of the candles as possible, and if it's not the tops and bottoms of pivots, I also look for the tops and bottoms of the body of the candle, not including the wick. So kind of, and then 45.67, so we could wait for 45.67 for a reject, and so that's quite a lot of things lining up there. High concentrated volume, previous pivot, or the shoulders, if you want to say. This could be a head and shoulders pattern. Area of confluence, we've got the downward trailing trend line, and we've got the point of control, and also we've got a previous daily level of 45.64. And you saw yesterday it came down, Friday, came down, touched it, pushed back up, came down, pushed back up, and finally broke down, and we were hovering around, we were right smack down in the middle of that area. So that's where we are today. So right, last levels, I'd consider a reject of a 45.72. These are higher risk that goes against the trend. A reject off of this area as we just discussed. I'd also want to see if I can get a call, what do you call it? A break and retest, a trend line break and bounce around that area as well, and maybe take some, maybe looking at Qs or SPY, and just maybe look for a swing trade, get some calls, you know, which is a month out or something, just because I want to see us break this structure, because you can see this structure is building. So we're going to narrow it down until we get thinner. We're either going to break down or we're going to break out, and that's what I'm waiting for. I want to see basically a breakout above either one of these trend lines. And then a major bounce area is going to be at 45.40 area. And zoom out, we've got an area of demand also, and this big void below. So if we do break down below here, and we've got this next area for a bounce, 4,500, nice round number, and then we've got this area, this big void below. So not sure we'll get there today, but that's something to look forward to, and a big gap to fill, and as you know, gaps usually fill. So that's it. Let me just recap the levels again. I'll just go through them very quick. So I'm looking for a break and retest for trend continuation over this trend line, preferably over that trend line, and that'll be the major hourly trend line break. So 45.67 long, 45. I'll play by ear on this trend line because this is only a very local trend line. I'm looking for a bounce again at 45.40 area, and potentially we could be watching for a bounce where we are right now, but that's high risk, and a slight area of confluence, tops of candles there, tops of candles, bottoms, and we broke through on volume and put in a nice reversal candle there as well. So something to keep an eye on, maybe as a scalp if it breaks that hourly candle but we are going into all this resistance as well. But I think I prefer being outside of this trend first before I go long. And that's it really. So quite easy, same levels really as yesterday. If we do get up to this weekly trend line, daily trend line at 4,600, then I'll be looking for a rejection around that area. So looking at SPY, probably face similar. And it was still, still going sideways. Yeah, exactly the same really. A bounce at 452 area, 451.85. Break and retest for this trend line, 454 long, and maybe a 455 long as well, and then rejections off of those same areas, higher risk rejections. And then we've got a daily level here at 458.23 and an area supply, so this could be our rejection area as well. Qs, 10 minutes before market opens. What's this? This is the daily Qs. You can see we've broken the pivot, closed above it once, and then yet to stay above that area. Well, it was still above the pivot, but looking a bit of indecision. One thing I didn't look at actually was volume on the daily. Look at that decline in volume, still decline in volume, quite clearly see that as is. So we could be getting tired now, so we could be looking for a potential pullback. So I just wanted to add that. Probably SPY will probably show similar. Yeah, pretty similar. Highest volume peak there, declining, so potentially showing a bit of tiredness. We've got, I'll ignore the volume velocity days because of Thanksgiving. It's not reflective of true volume. And I know we had an anomaly on the weekly as well. What was that? Wide range bar and a half a size bar, but the same size volume. So yes, so keep an eye on, could be looking the week. So let's look at NQs or the Nasdaq. The same as ES, but probably a little bit longer to get to. We've got 15,800 area for a potential bounce. Another potential bounce here at 15,600, 16,652. And then did we break the pivot? Hovering around there, potential head and shoulders pattern forming with the neckline is about there. Let's put that. So we haven't quite closed below the 200 moving average, this line here, but it looks likely we might do is below the 50. So potentially we're looking for a break, retest of this level, which is 15,942. 1600 is just above, so yeah, so maybe 1600 is a key area, or even a rejection of 1600 for a potential scalp short. Again, trend is your friend until it's not. It's still looking pretty strong anyway. It's hard. Even the RSI is down here at 50, so it's not showing any signs of weakness. Really, it's not down in the overbought or oversold area, so keep an eye on that. Oil, I've not looked at for a few days. Inverse head and shoulders maybe. Setting up this pattern. Who knows, maybe that area, 77.98, could be a critical area, break and retest long. That will be changing this daily downtrend. It looks like we're changing the trend. We need to get above that pivot, that area there. So that's the area to watch for, 77.98. And that's the only play really, and maybe a reject if we get up here, but that's on the daily. On intraday, no, not much really. Maybe a, yeah, it's got to be breaking over 77.88 for a potential long, and if we can get over that area, we've got a target then of 80, so you can get a $2 move, and maybe we could even target 82.34. So they're areas we could watch for potential long swing, long intraday. And last but not least, gold. It's looking strong. Look at that. I missed my opportunity on this a few times. Still missed it. I've not really been focused on it the last few days. But that's the play we've been waiting for. Remember I talked about this squeeze we was watching for. It didn't quite happen. And then we pulled down, and then I wanted to get the break and retest of that level there. Came in, pulled back down, maybe could have got it, broke. Even if you stopped out, stop would have been there or there. But it's definitely given plenty of opportunity. And you've got the point of control as well, and look at that breaking out big time. That looks good. Okay, so what's the next plan on this? Let's go into the daily. I really want to swing trade this. Oh, look at that, that's beautiful. Okay, there's only one play. We need it to come back down to that level, 2014, for a long break and retest of 2 pivots. Maybe we got a little bit of flexibility in the entry. 2008 through to 2014 area. That's the play. So let's put a. I keep missing it all the time. Let's put in an alert. 2016. Okay, so that's what we're waiting for. But that's exactly what we was waiting for, and I missed it. But 2000, we've been trading for the last week. Perfect. Okay. Right, that's it really. Go back to MES, see if anything's changed in the last few minutes. Nothing really. My thumbs, no, it's just consolidating on the 5. Look at that. So remember what we're looking at: potential left shoulder, potential head, and maybe we could be putting in a right shoulder today. Just one theory. I'm still long bias, so if we do put in an inverse head and shoulders, then that'll be my confirmation as well. One of my patterns I watch for the break and retest of this trend line, or probably be looking over that area there. So I'll recap the levels one last time, more for me, so it's stuck in my brain then. About the hourly. So we're looking about that bounce would have worked quite well, what I was just talking about. So watching for a bounce here at 45.40. I've got an alert in just before 40, so a higher risk bounce here, which I said was probably about to happen, when it looks like it is now. That's 45.52, and then if we can get over this level, 45.60, I might consider it long, but we'll be going long into this mess, so you've got to keep an eye on that. And then the break and retest of this hourly trend line as well, 45.67 area, 45.66, and we've got to get through this point of control as well, so that'll be a good area. So all these things will line up quite nicely. So this is the area to watch for, and it's either going to be a break and retest long, or we're going to see a plain just a straight up rejection, and that's the two. That's what I'm really watching for. And then a higher risk rejections, they'll all be high risk because it's against the trend, so it'll be smaller position sizes, whereas my longs or my bounces will be slightly bigger position sizes because it's with the trend. And I'll be looking for adds as well. So for example, if I can get above this pivot on a break and retest, then maybe I might look for an add on the retest, maybe get in as it breaks out. But I'll be watching for another break and retest of that level as well for a potential add, maybe even a exit and then an add on a pullback and for it to push up. That's what I'm waiting for. And obviously I've got my target set as this trend line, the weekly trend line, and I think if it gets to this area, we should see a bit of rejection. RSI on the hourly, it's midway. Hasn't been in the overbought area since we had this reversal here, and again up here as well, and we had a bit of a reversal, but nothing really happened. We had overbought, came right down to 50%, and we barely moved. Again here, overbought, came back down to that area we're watching, and it came back down to 50%. Nothing's indicating it's oversold. Right now we're right in the middle, so there's no real indication saying whether it's going to go up or down. But we've got, I think it's called positive divergent. So you draw a trend line there, and we can draw a trend line there. So that's showing RSI looking stronger than what we're seeing on that change of trend. So potentially we could be seeing a bit of a another move up shortly, but you have to just keep an eye on things. Okay, that's my front door going, and the market's about to open in 10 seconds. So thank you for watching, and have